2 years chasing a phony Russia collusion investigation criminally with a special counsel whose office was filled with rabid Trump-hating, never-Trumper Democrats, and they came up with nothing. Nothing. Over 3 years, committees controlled by the Democrats in the House of Representatives came up with nothing. And they covered up testimony from key senior officials in the Obama administration who, when they were under oath, told these House members they had no evidence whatsoever of Russia collusion. And they went on anyway, and went on year after year. And then they moved quickly to Ukraine. They had a whistleblower whose name the media wouldn't talk about, but we knew who it was. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Even though everyone knew his name, we couldn't speak his name. You must not speak his name. Democrat, Biden operative at the White House, had no firsthand knowledge of anything, meaning he's hearsay at best, had an axe to grind, met with Schiff's assistants. Schiff never testified about exactly what he knew and when he knew it. And that was used as a basis to impeach the President of the United States, a perfectly legitimate phone call. The transcript was released. There was no cover-up. It was released by the President of the United States. And this man is going to sit at the presiding officer in lieu of the Chief Justice of the United States, overseeing the second impeachment of an innocent man, the second unconstitutional impeachment of an innocent man. Go.
Hidden from the American people. I've been here 45 years, and I think how far the Senate has fallen. In some ways, President Nixon's misconduct, directing a break-in of the Democratic National Committee headquarters to benefit himself politically, that seems quaint compared to today.
Okay, stop. Two things. Nixon never ordered anyone to break into anything. He was involved in the cover-up. He was shocked that they did it. He thought it was the stupidest damn thing he'd ever seen, and he didn't want it to get out. And as bad as that was, he learned that's the sort of thing you could do until, of course, he became president, from Lyndon Johnson and John Kennedy. We're busy handing out people's tax returns, busy using the FBI to collect data on their political opponents. They actually all learned it from FDR, did exactly that, and used the FBI. Tapped into people's phones and everything. You wouldn't think Nixon was the only one. No, Nixon was the one who got caught, and they hated his guts. And I explain all this on Unfreedom of the Press. But now he's saying that what Trump did in that phone call is worse than Nixon. You know, everything now is worse than Nixon, worse than Watergate. It's not worse than anything. Trump didn't do anything. They've been trying to get rid of him, and now they're chasing him down in Mar-a-Lago. Think about how sick that is. With all the things going on, I talked about China. It's not just China. Iran is actually getting to a point where it's going to be able to arm MIRV missiles with nuclear warheads. And this is what we do. Nero is fiddling while Rome burns. Just remember, Rome was a republic, depending on how you count. Some people count 500 years. I count almost 1,000 years. We have only been around a little over 250 years. I mean, when you have politicians like this, you have to wonder how long we're going to survive. Go.
And then, instead of hiding secret records, as President Nixon did, President Trump attempted to hide every single record from the American people.
The president finally drew the line, and this is a separation of powers issue, not an impeachment issue. He said, you know, when you folks came on the Russia collusion issue, I gave every damn thing we had to the prosecutor. The criminal prosecutor, forget Congress, to a criminal prosecutor who was investigating me and my family and my administration without any reason to do so, in violation of Justice Department appointment processes. As a matter of fact, there was no predicate, no criminal statute that they could even point to. Nonetheless, all the investigations, not once did the President of the United States during the course of that investigation assert any privilege, presidential privilege, executive privilege, attorney-client privilege. Not once did he direct any witness not to testify. He answered questions in writing. Probably the most cooperative president in modern American history when it comes to a criminal investigation. Then they moved to Ukraine. and they have their whistleblower, and there's leaks happening, and then they say, okay, now we want everything on Ukraine. And Trump said, you know what? I'm president of the United States. I've got to run the executive branch. I've got a lot I have to do to run this government and protect the people of this country from foreign enemies and so forth. I'm done playing your game. You're using taxpayer dollars, using committees of Congress as basically opposition research for the Democrat National Committee and for the next nominee for the Democrat Party in the next election. That's it. I'm done playing games. And they also gave him impossible deadlines. So he would have had to shut down basically all the functions of the executive branch. What they were trying to do from day one was to cripple the Trump presidency. Cripple it with subpoenas, document requests, witnesses, hearings, criminal investigations, allegations, private allegations, official allegations. They were trying to destroy the Trump presidency and make it impossible for him to function. Yet look at all he did. But finally, he drew a line and he said no. And so they, okay, we're going to impeach you. Go ahead.
As reflected in Article 2, President Trump has the distinction of being the only president in our nation's history to direct all executive branch officials not to cooperate with the congressional.
Excuse me. It's because Trump is the smartest of the bunch. Because Trump knew their game here was to impeach him. That's why. And Trump knew that they would never stop. And so no matter what he gave them, no matter how much he gave them, it wouldn't matter. That's the man who's going to preside over the next unconstitutional impeachment trial against an innocent private citizen. That just shows you what's going on in this country. Think about big tech, think about big media, think about all that's going on in this country right now. What is it called? It's called tyranny. And the Democrat Party is very good at tyranny, whether it's slavery, which they stood for and fought for, whether it's segregation for 100 or more years, which they stood for or fought for, and now they're at war with our constitutional system, with the voting system, and our economic system. It's a very dangerous party.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.